Well, here I stand back home after spending a weekend away in a place called Golden, British Columbia, Canada. And I had booked this retreat about probably 2 months ago, maybe even longer, when I realized that my fellow NIA companions were putting on a workshop. And it was a workshop really centered on receiving love, receiving. And so it worked up, and I was getting more and more excited about this workshop, mostly because it was Nia centered, and I know that going to these retreats or these workshops they can be and have been for me life changing in a way that I could never describe. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about that today and see where that takes me. I had Thursday off, and I was planning on driving Friday because it didn't start till 4 p.m. on Friday. But because I had all of Thursday off, I decided, you know what, I'm going to take an extra day and I'm going to go drive to Kelowna, where I used to live, and hug some people that I hadn't seen in a while and spend the night and then travel to Golden the next morning, which originally was going to be my plan when I was living in Kelowna. So it felt right. It felt like it was what I was supposed to do. So I reached out to a bunch of people. I gave lots of hugs. I offered Nia in the park where I used to offer it for a few people that stepped in, and we had a wonderful time. It was a beautiful night. And I spent the night with a good friend of mine. And then I woke up the next morning and I thought, I have all day to get there. I'm not allowed to arrive until 4 p.m. But something didn't feel like I should stay in Kelowna. So I had breakfast and I left. I think I left at, 8 o'clock in the morning. And it was only a 4 hour drive to the retreat, and I wasn't allowed to be there till 4 p.m. So I took the entire day to be slow, to be in the moment. I put cruise control on my truck at 70, which put quite the lineup of vehicles behind me. But, I let them pass when I could. And I just wanted to be in the day, in the depths of it. And as I started to approach this retreat center, I felt this drawing of energy from everyone that was coming in all directions. There was 13 of us that were joining, and I just felt this pull. I don't know how to explain it other than these fingers of these roads of people coming in all directions just to meet. And so I stopped. I saw a waterfall. I had to maneuver around back and forth to find a way to get into the waterfall. I walked in there. I let the waterfall fill me up, which is just blissful always. And drove a little further, taking in the day, taking in the moment. Got to the retreat center way too early, so I drove past, got to this bridge where I parked, had some lunch that I had bought, sat there enjoying my music, enjoying the moment, had a little nap, woke up, and then it was probably about 20 minutes before 4, and I just said, I can't wait any longer. I gotta go. So I pull up to the driveway, and they have these tarps to cover the driveway up so no outsiders come in. And as he's the owner saw me, and I was idling my truck, which I probably shouldn't have been sitting there idling, but I just wanted in, and something was telling me I needed to get in to see my people. So he let me in, and I saw my friends, and I hugged them, and I was so excited. And as people started to show up, I started to witness a lot of anxiety, actually. A lot of people that came. There was a lady that came that never even had done Nia before. She came with her mom, and she said that her initial feeling was that she was sad, which was the absolute opposite of what I was feeling. And so we get to know each other a little bit. I only knew 4 of the 13 people, and as they were coming in with all of their stuff, women had just left their young kids. There was all these different dynamics, all these different personalities that were coming together. But one commonality seemed to be that every one of us was stepping in whole. Like we were all in it, all of us. We, none of us seemed to really be in a pity party, feeling sorry for ourselves. Like there was things that we talked about that were not great in our lives, which is normal with everyone, but we just never sat in it and expected anyone else to save us from ourselves. It was so beautiful. So we got through the first night. We get up the next morning and it starts to build and the energy builds, and of course there's dance, there's Nia, and that's what drew me in the first place. And we danced and I just felt so electric. She went around the room and asked what energy level we were at for our bodies, and of course I was a 10 out of 10. I was just so in it. I was so excited. And the food was incredible. It was so nourishing in the body. They really suggested that we eat in silence, which really helps bring us to this moment, having gratitude for the food and for the people and for the energy of the space. When I stepped into the studio, it was called the Remy Room. It was the energy and the feeling in there took my breath away. People that lived there really took the time to put things in there and put intention in there that was just out of this world amazing. And that's really what I want to create when I finally find my space, my studio. I want to keep infusing it with positive energy, and whether it's incense and rocks and people, I want to keep bringing in all of that beautiful, warm, loving kindness energy that you can just feel when you step in somewhere. So the day continued and things happened, and there was this river that went by, and it was fed by the glaciers that were in the mountains. And down in the mud was silica mud. And there was a lot of people stirring, saying that they wanted to go swim in the mud and roll around in the mud. And I was totally in for that. And these women were just so open and so vulnerable. And they all went there, and I went too. And we were connecting, and we were just being with each other and with ourselves. And we were giving ourselves the freedom to just express the way we wanted to. It was absolutely stunning. The more I'm around these women, the more I just fell in love with them, and I fell in love with myself more and more. I just felt the expansion, the growth, the healing that was happening as we were here. And as the night continued on, there was a teepee that was set up, and there was 4 beds in the teepee and a fire in the middle, and we decided, because it was raining, we were going to meet in the teepee for conversation and share stories and stuff. And we got in there, and to sit there and listen to people sharing their stories and laughing and joking and making fun of ourselves. And I started to kind of get quiet. I started to get to the place where I'm comfortable. I don't really tell a lot of stories, which is partially why I'm doing these YouTube videos, is because when I'm in the real with people, I like to listen to their stuff. I learn more by listening and being quiet than I do by speaking. So I started to get a little quiet and just listen. And I had stories to share. When someone would say something about a dog, I'd think in my brain, I have a cool dog story, but I just kept the floor open for everyone else, and I felt good about it. I felt like it was the right thing to do. And then as the evening continued on, I started to get this heaviness, and there's always in some of these workshops, there's the invitation to do breath work. And in my ayahuasca journey, in different journeys that I went on, it was the breath work that actually was the most transformational for me. And so I knew that my friend did some breath work, and so I started to invite that seed, that invitation in to maybe do something like that. I had downloaded a guided meditation with breath work, and I thought maybe that's what I was going to do. And everybody left, is just settle into this 20-minute guided breathwork meditation that would help with the breathing and keep me focused and keep me in the moment and guide me in and then back out. And so the night continued, and people started to leave and go to bed. And at the end, there was three of us, and I was talking to the one friend of mine that I knew did it, and I was really telling her that I really felt that I needed to do that, and it would be really cool to do it in the teepee. So she offered to do it with me and to guide me, and I said, "Are you sure?" Because when I decide to go in something, like even when I did ayahuasca and when I do these different things, when I decide to go in, I go in deep. I go in hard and I go in deep. And I didn't know if she had the energy for it. I didn't know if she was prepared for what was going to happen, because you never really know what's going to happen. So she said yes, she offered it, she was willing, and the third lady, gave us the space, gave us hugs, and gave us space to do this thing, which was so beautiful as well. And so I laid down, and she started to help me breathe in, breathe out through the mouth, breathe in, and get deeper and deeper and deeper. And as I started to deepen my breath, she invited me to see a place in my body that was in pain. And so to see it energetically, so I closed my eyes and I would see this circle, and inside this dark, it wasn't black, but it was dark. It was a dark circle, and in the middle of the circle, she said, go inside the pain, go deep within the pain, almost like you're back in the uterus and you're inside of it, and let it sort of, let yourself be in the middle of it to see what comes for you. And so I really did that. I envisioned this big circle and this little dot in the middle, and I just put all of my energy and my intention into the center of that circle. And when I started to do that, I started to kind of quiver on the out breath. I would breathe in, and then I would breathe out, and I would quiver. And in and out and quiver. And then my teeth started to chatter, and it just kept growing and growing and growing, and it would change from one spot to another spot. And then she started doing acupressure points, and she got to, I think, a point here in my shoulder, and I don't know what that point represented. I think it was lungs, but I'm not sure. And as soon as she started pushing there, the pain was so extreme that I just started crying. I started just crying, full on crying on every out breath. And it was so beautiful, and she kept saying, breathe and breathe and breathe through it. And I think we went 2 hours of me convulsing and flexing and shaking and crying and releasing. And then it just started to get ease in the body in those places. And it was, I can only say it was like an exorcism. It was like my body released and removed these stuck emotions, this stuck energy that I couldn't any other way get out of my body. As much as my brain says, let it go, my body has a different idea. And it worked. It was so precious and so beautiful and so healing. And we finished at about 11 o'clock at night, and we went outside and we walked to our rooms, and I went to sleep and had the most peaceful sleep I've had in a long time. And my body was in such ease from those places in such a long time. And then came the last day, and we danced, and it was great, and the food was phenomenal, and the people were so great. And I felt this heaviness that was starting to come into my body, and I was like, what is this that's making me feel so heavy right now and so sad? Was it the emotions that I released from the night before? Was it the fact that this is our last date together, and I don't know when I'm going to see these people again? Everything comes to an end, and I don't like endings because I don't know what's next. I don't know when I'm going to see them again. I don't know when I'm going to feel this magic with this group, this container of people. And so I got further and further drawn back from the group, and there was a moment at the end of Sunday night where they were sharing, and I let everyone share, and I just felt like I had nothing to say. I mean, I did, but I just felt sad and just not good. And so everyone had spoken, and some people had spoken a few times, and then, they looked at me and they said, okay, we're waiting. And I just said, I don't know how I'm feeling. I don't know. I just don't want to go. I just want this to end. It just sucks, and I don't like it. And so didn't cry, and I don't know. I said I loved every moment of the weekend and everything that it offered, and it was so beautiful and so wonderful, and I stepped fully in, but I felt this instant kind of pull back. Like I was like I was already leaving, like I was already in the next day driving out, and I was just so sad about it. And the circle ended, and my one true friend that started me on this journey, she walked straight up to me and she said, "Karen, don't go. We don't leave till tomorrow." And I just started bawling. I started crying so hard because I had done the thing that my daughter does, is that day before is like all the emotions of I don't want to feel what tomorrow's going to bring, but what that does is it puts me in tomorrow today. So I was in it and I was crying, and I was sad because I said I don't know when I'm going to see you again, and I don't like that. I love that I have things in the future that I'm looking forward to, because I do have so much gratitude. You know, I'm going to Portugal in 48 days. I'm counting because it's exciting and scary, and it's a new adventure, and it's a new way to step into another growing experience and another thing. But I'm in this moment, I'm just like, I just don't know what to do with all of this. And so I was crying, and she was hugging me, and you know, they were gonna meet up again that night at the campfire, and I said, I don't know if I'm coming, I don't know. And I went off and I did a little dance to the sunset by myself, and I let the ease back in my body, and I came back and I stepped back in, and I came into the circle, and we talked and we shared things, and we said we loved each other. And because you find this love that's within you, that's also in all of these people, and everyone's there together dealing with their stuff and holding space for each other. And so I came back, and I went through that, and I went to bed, and we got up the next morning, and we joined again for another little circle and a toning where we used voice, and then another little dance, and then we had breakfast, and we met at the end after breakfast for a closing ceremony. And there was a woman that sang a song. There was some moments of, I'm going to say, ecstasy, where I was able to release my sadness and release the pain and cry and show everyone that it's okay to cry and that it's okay to be sad, but it's also really important to be so grateful and so happy and so here in this moment, which I talk about all the time, and I do it most of the time until I'm sad that I don't want it to end because it's so good. And so we were in it, and we joined in these beautiful moments, and we did this huge, we went down after the dance to the ground, and we started to do like this steamroller where we're all rolling on top of each other and getting close and getting connected and laughing and rolling. And then we all formed in the center for this huge dog pile, and we just connected, and then we went into silence and stillness, all together on top of each other, with each other. And we are connected, and we are together even after we leave. We stay connected. The energy is high. The frequency is high. The joy is filling. And it's okay to be sad. It's okay to be in those emotions. But it's a reminder for me to stay here. Stay right here. As I'm here in the middle of this wilderness. A house is right there with a dog barking, but here is just acres and acres of wilderness and grass and trees and nature and bugs that are chewing me up. And every part of it just makes me feel so much more human and alive. So let's be alive. Let's be here. Let's help each other raise up. Raise up, face to the sun in this moment. Thank you so much for being here with me, for loving me, for letting me love you. Let's continue this journey, walk this path together. And I do believe that I will be leading workshops like that. I will be leading retreats when the time is right, the people are right, maybe a partner to help me lead. and help you all to come step in and feel this that is life that we choose. Take care so much. I love you. I hope to see you soon, whether it's on the dance floor or in the grocery store or at the gas station, dancing through life with a big ass smile on my face as much as I humanly possibly can. And love to you all. See you soon.